In this video, we're talking about multiplication and division of scientific notation together. Notice that we have a fraction here where we have two values in the numerator that are multiplied together and two values in the denominator that are multiplied together. If we look at just the numerator, we have 0.0003 times 10 to the negative 6. That's not in scientific notation yet because we have to move the decimal place over until we have 3.0. 4,000 is also not in scientific notation. So let's start by getting both of the numbers in the numerator in scientific notation before we multiply them together. So for this first value here, 0003, we have to move the decimal to the right 1, 2, 3, 4 spots until we get it after the 3, so 3 can be our whole number. As a result here, we are going to end up with 3.0 times. We move the decimal place 4 places to the right, so we're going to get 10 to the negative 4. Because remember, whenever we move the decimal place to the right, the exponent here is going to be negative. So times 10 to the negative 4 and then times 10 to the negative 6. We go ahead and keep that. And then our 4,000 here. We have our decimal place at the end of the 4,000. We need to move it to the left until it's right after the 4. So 1, 2, 3 spots. So that's going to leave us with 4.0 times 10 to the 3. Because we moved the decimal place to the left, so the exponent is positive and we moved it 3 spots. We have 10 to the 3rd. Now, we'll simplify by combining this 10 to the negative 4 and 10 to the negative 6. We'll have 3.0 times. When we have like bases and we multiply these together, we're going to add the exponents. So negative 4 plus a negative 6 is a negative 10. So we get 10 to the negative 10 times 4.0 times 10 to the 3rd. Now, when we multiply scientific notation together like this, we deal with the whole numbers together. So we'll do 3.0 times 4.0 is going to be 12.0, and then we deal separately with these powers of 10. So 10 to the negative 10 times 10 cubed. Again, we have like bases, so we just add those exponents. Negative 10 plus a positive 3 is going to be a negative 7. So we get times 10 to the negative 7. And this now is going to be our numerator. So we're just going to leave that alone for a second. That's going to be our numerator. We need to deal now with the denominator before we go ahead and divide the numerator by the denominator. So looking here at our denominator, we need to get this value into scientific notation. We are going to need to move this decimal 1, 2, 3 spots to the right so that we end up with 6.0. So here we are going to get 6.0 times 10 to the negative 3 since we moved the decimal place to the right 3 spots. And then times 10 to the 15. And then for here, 2,000 times 10 to the 4. We have our decimal place right here. We need to move it to the left 1, 2, 3 spots, so it's right after the 2, and we can call this 2.0. So we're going to say times 2.0 times 10 to the positive 1, 2, 3 spots times 10 to the 4th. Now when we simplify here, we'll get 6.0. 10 to the negative 3 times 10 to the 15 when you add those exponents together. Negative 3 plus 15 is a positive 12, so we get times 10 to the 12th. And then here we are going to get 2.0.10 to the 3 times 10 to the 4th is going to be 10 to the 7th when we add 3 and 4 together. So times 10 to the 7th. And now just like we did for our numerator, we multiply the whole numbers together. 6.0 times 2.0 is going to give us 12.0. And then we multiply the powers of 10 together, so 10 to the 12 times 10 to the 7th. Again, we add the exponents, so we get times 10 to the 19th. Because 12 plus 7 is 19. So this then is our denominator. So for our final answer, we are going to take the numerator 12.0 times 10 to the negative 7 and divide by the denominator 12.0 times 10 to the 19. And now we just need to simplify by dealing with our whole numbers separately from our powers of 10. So 12.0 divided by 12.0 is going to be 1.0 times 10 to the negative 7 over 10 to the 19. When we have like bases in a fraction like this, remember we always take the exponent from the numerator, negative 7, and subtract the exponent from the denominator, which in this case is 19. Negative 7 minus 19 is a negative 26. So we are going to get 1.0 times 10 to the negative 26 for our final answer.